Hey there folks, this is GreenyXI welcoming you right back to Let's Play Umineko. This is episode 90. In the last episode we finished off the 5th arc, so I thought today we'd kick off the 6th. This was actually meant to be a different series starting, like, well, you know, recently, maybe not today, sometime. But things didn't quite work out with deliveries of the new game and things like that, so I'm just waiting for that to be delivered, and while we do, I didn't want to have a huge break, like I've had a long enough one, but we'll play some Umineko. Why not? It's been a while since we recorded some anyway. So, the 6th arc, Dawn of the Golden Witch. Good morning. Now the curtain shall finally rise on a game presented by the Battler Sama. Will Battler Sama manage to successfully and spectacularly fill the enormous role of Game Master? Let us bear witness to this fight from the opposite side of the chessboard. There no longer is a difficulty level. There is no longer a hint, but a confession. Ooh, okay, so this time we got Battler as the Game Master. Simply because of what happened with Beatrice, or Beatrice, at the end of the last arc, so let's get cracking. Oh, I'm excited to see where they go with this now, because I haven't read any manga or anything of this from this point on, so I don't have a clue what's coming now. And that's exciting. We got 3 arcs of blind stuff for me. Completely blind. A beautiful glow shone in from the skylight over the Grand Cathedral. The place was somehow different from the way it had been during the witch's trial. The decorations had changed. The several pleasantly sparkling white ribbons that adorned it were thin like razors, but they trailed beautifully in the air. Flowers were arranged all over in a way that would make any place look cheerful. It was like how a single drop of impure water can spoil an entire cask of wine. Just the presence of those flowers, those ribbons, and the red carpet that ran down the centre of the room made it hard to believe that this was the same place Ashiramaya Natsui had been falsely accused of a crime. It had truly become a wedding chapel. Oh, hello. A new character from the get-go, right? Love is generous, love is merciful. And another one. Love does not envy, it does not boast. These words, spoken by 2 demons who seemed to be in charge of this gathering, were part of a ceremony for making an oath of love before the eyes of God. Of course, in this wedding, celebrated by demons, there was no priest in sight. Instead, there stood the witch who controls miracles. In sickness and in health. Yeah, a wife's true job is to be supportive in times of sickness. Isn't that right, Erica? Yes, my master. That looks good on you. What a fitting outfit for one who has conquered the bridegroom. I'm honoured, my master. The bride standing on the carpeted path was Furudo Erica. The groom's face couldn't be seen. The bride's outfit certainly was a pure white wedding dress. Her veil represented both the white of God's blessings and the white of a demon's cruelty. A great many goat nobles, witches and demons were gathered for the wedding. If only their heads hadn't been those of goats, it would probably have seemed a very refined crowd, worthy of this great cathedral. I'd expect no less of you, Bern. The stuff you managed to think up is always so twisted. A wife supporting her ailing husband. Isn't that a lovely story? It suits you well, Erica. And congratulations to you too, Mr. Groom. But who is it? At that point, Berncastle stared straight into the groom's eyes. The groom didn't answer. His eyes were grey. His lips would mutter something from time to time, but no one could tell if the words meant anything. Hey. Are you listening? You people? She spoke to the groom in the plural. Of course, there was only one groom. And of course, the grey-eyed groom didn't answer. So even though you can hear her, you can't answer? Don't worry, okay? Battler-san? It's okay. I'll just take everything you are. and trample it into the ground. The Witch of Miracles sneered with an evil smile that even a demon would shudder to look at. Even that sneer provoked no response from Battler's dim eyes. People live for the sake of love. Therefore, today, you have fulfilled the purpose of your lives. Oh, how great is the power to live, the power of love. I pray that the brightness of this day blesses these two for all time. Just give it a rest already, you demons. What comes next? The couple will now make an oath of eternal love. After that, they will exchange rings. On Battler's hand was a ring bearing the seal of the one-winged eagle, proof that he was the territory lord of this world. And on Erica's finger was a diamond ring that could not be shattered by any miracle. Diamonds signify an eternal bond. However, in Greek, the word diamond simply means unbreakable. Erica wasn't vowing to love Battler forever. She just wanted to rule over him as her eternal property. This wedding was being performed for the sole purpose of defiling Battler. Don't worry, I won't love you forever. After all, the point of the ceremony is to make you submit to me. Your heart will be shut inside in an inescapable, closed room forever, where I, Frodo Erica, the detective and the Witch of Truth, will command it. Your position as territory lord and your ring will become mine. Can't get... What was that? Can't get out. Yeah, I bet you can't get out of that closed room. After all, you made it yourself. You'll suffer in that room for all eternity, and I'll remain by your side as your wife forever, getting to enjoy that look of anguish on your face all by myself. I'll defile you forever, assure my Battler. Game? No, we're good. Although, hold on a sec. I just need to make sure everything was still running, because that went weird. Okay, let's get cracking. All that could be heard was the sound of the wind. A sound of misfortune, bringing sadness and unease to all who heard it. Oh, back to the mansion? Actually, outside the church of the mansion? I don't know. Slowly, I came back to my senses. I finally regained consciousness on top of a bed with a firm mattress. Where was this again? I can't remember where this is, but I can vaguely recall that I must not remain here. The room was dimly lit. There was a light on, but that just made the darkness and eeriness of the room more apparent. There were no curtains over the window, but it was too dark outside to see anything beyond it. If I squinted into that pitch blackness, it felt as though I could see the Witch of the Forest peeking back at me from the darkness, and I averted my gaze from the window in fear. I can't see or hear it, but I get the feeling that if I leave this room, it'll be bright and warm, and someone else will be there for me. I want to get to where everyone else is as soon as I can. Bad memories from when I was very young began to well up. Horrible, harsh memories of when I started dozing off during a family gathering and was put to sleep in some room I didn't know. I remember waking up there, incredibly lonely and sobbing. I must not remain in this room. I just want to get out of here quickly. Once that thought crossed my mind, I didn't want to stay in the room a second longer than I had to. I'm scared. It's creepy. Where is everyone? I want to get out of here right now. I opened the door, trying to leave the room. A pleasant glow snuck in through the crack of the door. As I thought, the corridor was filled with a comforting light. I couldn't actually hear them, but I could sense that fear. The far away, people were enjoying themselves. I'm sure everyone's gathered in the room across from this one. I've been shut up in this lonely, creepy room, all alone. I should go, quickly. As soon as I thought this, a merciless metallic sound rang out, and the door refused to open any further. The chain had been set. I've always hated chain locks. You can open a normal lock just by twisting, but chain locks are built in an annoying way, and I couldn't work them out easily. So I've hated them ever since I was very young. See? Even this chain is causing me trouble, and I just can't get it undone. Why is this happening? I just want to leave this creepy room right away. Just on the other side of this thin door, everything's bathed in this warm light. I can't undo it. I just can't undo this chain. The more desperate I grew, the more that unsettling darkness seemed to be closing in on my back, and the more frightened I became. Then I finally noticed, there's something wrong with this chain. There's a chain, but this isn't a chain lock. This is just a chain staked into the door, preventing it from opening any further. In other words, it isn't made to be opened. What the hell's going on? Who'd do something like this, damn it? No matter what I did, no matter how much I struggled, I couldn't pull out the stake or undo the chain or break the mechanism. This door was just a demon's mouth, made to trick me into thinking it would open before crushing my hopes. Even so, if only I could just open this door somehow, I could get out into that pleasant corridor. This desire forced me to keep my hand glued to the doorknob. But it was useless. Both the chain and the stake were firm, and no matter how much I clattered them about, there was no chance of the door opening any further. Even though I could see the pleasant hallway through the crack, I had no chance of opening the door any further. Maybe someone will come if I yell. Maybe the door can be opened easily from the outside. When I thought this, I tried to call out to someone, but I couldn't make the words come out. I could mouth, "Someone come here," but no voice left my lips. What's going on? Someone come. Why can't I cry out? Help me, help me, help me. The mere fact that I can't say help me out loud is even scarier. If I turn around, the witch gazing into the room from the darkness outside might be inside the room this time, standing right behind me. I'm frightened. I'm scared, I'm scared, I'm scared. Someone help me, someone help me. I can't get out, can't get out. Let me out of this room. Help me. I'm scared, I'm scared, I'm scared. Let me out, let me out, let me out. Help me, help me, help me. Certain words there you could hear from Battler when in the sort of wedding as the groom, you know, when he was trying to say something as a groom. It sounds like they've arrived, lady. Huh? I was going to these now. Bloody hell's jumping around, isn't it? Oh. Amakusa ran his finger down my cheek. In an instant, I awoke from the doze I'd just been in. Oh, Angie. Bloody hell, I haven't seen her for a bit. I glared at Amakusa for waking me up in such a creepy way, but he just pretended not to notice. Where's this? It feels like a parlour in some dignified person's house, but I have no memory of this place at all. Where is this? Why am I... You still half asleep, lady? Sorry. Where are we? Apparently he hadn't expected me to forget something like that just because I wasn't fully awake yet. For once I agreed with him. Why am I in some parlour that I don't recognise? The sound of the footsteps from the they Amakusa had mentioned had come right up to the opposite side of the door. I could hear conversing voices. Is that a woman? Judging by the coffee and snacks laid in front of me, I was the guest here. In that case, I better remember why I came here, or at least who it was I came to visit. Who am I? Assure my Angie. Who's the man standing behind me? Amakusa Juza. The man who used to be my guard long ago. He's now the bodyguard Okanogi assigned to me. In that case, is this after Aunt Eva's death? When I've thrown off my pursuers? On that journey to find out what happened 12 years ago? Is that how it went? Do I really have a memory like this? Is he going to do that in this arc? Is he going to go post-game kind of thing again? Try and find out more. After a knock, the door opened, and the person I must have come here to meet entered along with an assistant. Oh, wonderful. Even after seeing her face, I can't remember who she is. Our sincere apologies for keeping you waiting. Hachijo Toya is here. That's a relief. The assistant introduced her to me first, and I finally remembered who she was. She? I thought it was a he. Excuse me, but are you... Oh, who are you? That's right. I am Hachijo Toya. The magazines were all talking about your book signing event. Supposedly, a mysterious male author showed up wearing sunglasses and a mask. Never thought he'd be a woman. What's the deal? That was just a double arranged for by the editing department. I was the helper standing behind him at the book signing. Now this a shock. I haven't read your works. But I'll bet you're even more mysterious than your books. Readers only pretend to read books. Do they? They read them based merely on the name of the author and the brand and think that they've actually read them. No matter what I write in my books, they don't truly read anything. They just pretend to read so they can look smart and knowledgeable and keep up with the current fad. Why on earth should I expose myself to these people? Why indulge such trash? I see. Looks like you're Madame Hachijo, alright. This person really is eccentric. There's no doubt about it. This is Hachijo Toya herself. Hachijo Toya is a mystery novelist who's become the centre of discussion lately. It seems her books themselves have been highly praised, but it's her mysterious debut that's attracted so much attention towards her lately. Last year she managed to win several different awards for exceptional mystery novels offered by multiple large publishing companies, submitting each of her works under a different pen name. And after that, several highly regarded anonymous works were discovered, one after another, to have been stories she had written in the past under false names. And her popularity soared as she herself became more mysterious than her books. Despite all this, the author herself never appeared in public, and everything about her was wrapped in a veil of secrecy. However, just a few days ago, this author finally made a public appearance for a book signing, showing up with a mask that covered his face and drawing even more public attention. And yet, apparently even that had been a fake. Given this person's radically unconventional track record, it was hardly a surprise to hear her casually insult her fans like this. I know quite a lot about you too, assure my Angie-san. The talk shows have been saying all sorts of things. I'm sure you've heard nothing good. Yeah, nothing good at all. Apparently, you employ and fire people on a whim, try to resolve everything with money, and care nothing for the law as long as you get your way. Yeah, sounds about right. However, I happen to like intelligent people like you. Is that why you agreed to meet with me? Exactly. You're the only person who's managed to spot that. Oh, don't. Kukuro? Right. Rai Gonamu? Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Is another pen name used by me, Hachijo Toya. That's actually quite impressive. Oh god. That name, that pen name, it was a pretty strange pen name. However, if you match the Japanese syllables to numbers, you can read it as that number, but what's it referring to? 11,019,960,576. This massive number is equal to 18 to the 18th power. 18 to the 18th? In Japanese, Toya no Hachijo. Or in other words, Hachijo Toya. Very well done. I was quite impressed. In fact, I was so impressed I decided to let you meet me in person. Welcome to my mansion, child of man. Her manner of speaking was extremely condescending, but perhaps because of her elegant manner, it didn't feel particularly irritating. This person had a sort of majestic grandeur about her, which made that style of speech seem almost natural. At least, that's how it felt to me. In fact, it felt almost as though this was the manifestation of some noble being, who would have no need to show herself before mere humans under normal circumstances. Since I'm not particularly a fan of hers, I guess this is proof that her mysterious charisma really is nothing to be laughed at. What's she meeting her for? However, I didn't come here to talk to Hachijo Toya, the mystery novelist. I'm interested in the pen name, the mysterious web author who only released her works over the internet. Oh, in the Japanese parts of the internet, that pen name is an extremely famous witch hunter. Oh, I might have to get used to that, saying that name then if it's going to become witchy. However, she isn't a big opinion leader like Professor Utsuki. She's one of those message bottle forgers who are always the centre of vigorous debate. Message bottle forgers are, as the name suggests, people who forge and post the contents of what purported to be mysterious message bottles detailing the events of the Rokkenjima incident. They claim to have discovered a new message bottle and post either a very similar counterfeit story or a new theory with their own interpretation of the truth, all of which are supposedly written by Ashura Maria. In so doing, they openly take on the name Ashura Maria, writing up new bizarre tales as if they'd been present themselves and knew the truth. They then send these stories out into the newest sea discovered by humankind, the internet, claiming that it's a third or fourth message bottle. All the first forgers were either simple pranksters or crooks trying to swindle collectors. Eventually though, people who claimed to have solved the riddles of the message bottle, tales, and reached the truth started to appear. And they started creating original works of their own, third and fourth message bottles from Ashura Maria, as though they had moved over to the riddle teller's side. These people rewrote the tale of the witch with whatever interpretations they wanted, and every once in a while parts of their theories would gain big followings on the net. Some of these creations grew to be so widely trusted that they were believed to contain some grain of truth. The more rigid witch hunters openly despised these people, called them forgers, counterfeiters, or just witches. Though they claimed to have reached the truth, they refused to tell anyone and created fake message bottles as though testing everyone else. It was no surprise, the more straight-laced witch hunters were seriously annoyed by these forgers. However, among those who simply liked to entertain themselves with the occult fantasy of Rokkenjima, an extremely small number accepted these creations as literary works, glad of these additions to the mysterious tale. I'm gonna try it. Ituikukuro, we'll go with that, was the most highly regarded of these forgers. End of the Golden Witch. That was the last arc. I've read that one. That's one hell of a hobby you got there, killing off other people's families however you like. Did you come all the way here to just say that? I think not, final descendant of the Ashura family. In her latest forgery, End, she killed off 7 members of my family, at least during the actual story. No, if you count Alliance and Banquet, the other forgeries she's made before now. Then she's killed off most of my family in horrible ways, over and over again. Oh, this is interesting, isn't it? So, she is the author of, essentially, Umineko, right? That's what they're trying to... Oh, this is a new twist on the whole story from the start. Of course I want to complain. However, all of her works are known for being, in both form and level of perfection, the closest tales to those written by Ashura Maria herself. In particular, Ituikukuro's first forgery, Banquet of the Golden Witch, managed to fit everything, including Ashura Eva's escape to Kuwadorian. People wondered whether this might be the true story of Rokkenjima, and even made it onto the talk shows. So far, all of these tales have been nothing more than electronic text on the web. However, people will eventually realise that Ituikukuro is actually Hachijo Toya. When that happens, they'll become the works of that bizarre Hachijo, and no one will think of them as mere fan creations. People will probably start wondering if this might actually be a third message bottle she found and released under the guise of a story she herself wrote. When that happens, these stories will probably seem even more bizarre and credible. You're pretty cunning, aren't you? Why'd you say that? You're doing this to make your forgeries seem more mysterious and more credible. And what do you mean by credible? Once you've gained credibility, your forgeries will rise to the level of truth. Rise to the level of truth? How foolish. Such a thing is unnecessary for my works. You saying that because your works are truth and not mere forgeries? Correct. They are truth, so there's no need for them to rise into anything. You aren't Maria, Oni-chan. And you definitely weren't on Rokkenjima on that day. So how can you be so absurd as to call this the truth? Don't lose your cool, lady. Shut up. What makes you think I'm losing my cool? Angie half realised that she'd let her emotions get the better of her. She let out a sigh and shrugged. Your reason for coming here? It wasn't to yell at me for killing your family several times within my forgeries, correct? Hachijo had been smiling at Angie kindly, but in a condescending manner. Or else, like a mother might watch over a very small child. Angie realised this and was unable to suppress her irritation. Apparently, Amakusa could tell that Angie was getting worked up. He joked around with her for a bit, so that they could start the conversation over again from the beginning. This is an interesting way of starting the arc. So is Dawn of the Golden Witch just another one of her stories? The thing you came here to hear, it's the truth that I've reached, is it not? Why are you so sure that you've reached the truth? Because I've understood all the tales. And I'm asking you why you're so sure about that. Do you think the sun ever revolved around the earth? Hachijo suddenly started talking about the Ptolemaic theory. I haven't heard of that. Angie was about to tell her not to answer questions with more questions, but she quickly realised what Hachijo meant. Humans used to support the Ptolemaic theory. However, that theory has been rejected in the modern age. Does this mean that at the instant the theory was rejected, the sun stopped moving and the earth started revolving around the sun? Of course not. The truth doesn't change based on what humans believe. Then right now, your denial of my truth means exactly the same thing. The idea of heliocentrism was proposed by several scholars before Galileo. However, it was hard to objectively prove that theory using the scientific techniques available at the time. Even so, that didn't change what the truth was. And yet it moves. So you're saying the truth is still the truth, whether you can prove it or not? Correct. In the future, when the full truth finally becomes known, people will look back and realise that I had already discovered it. Apparently, Angie just couldn't stand Hachijo's attitude. She kept getting irritated, and every time, Amakusa would joke around until she settled down again. However, there could be no mistake that Hachijo was a genius, and had used her extraordinary intuition to form a most interesting outlook on the events that occurred on that island. That was why Angie had wanted to contact Itoi Kikuro and hear her views. Still, this meeting truly had been fortunate for Angie. She hadn't been absolutely sure that Itoi Kikuro was Hachijo Toya. She hadn't thought that the publishing company would really contact the author. And moreover, she hadn't dreamed that the mysterious masked author would grant her an interview under such short notice. The more she thought about it, the more she realised that the sum of the events leading to this meeting made for nothing short of a miracle. Yes, a miracle. After all, in almost all cases, I'd never be contacted by the publishing company, and would leave for Najima the next day. I'd leave for Najima, then go on to Rokkanjima. And then give Oni-chan a Sakataru stuffed animal. Why is Sakataru a stuffed animal? My memory of the future is all muddled. My head hurts. Hachijo said something about showing Angie something good, rose from the sofa, and headed for the study desk. When she turned her back, Amakusa asked Angie, who seemed to be troubled by something, if she was okay. Hey, Amakusa. How long have I been here? You've been looking weird for a while now. What's going on? I can't remember how long I've been sitting here. You still half asleep? That's not it. I mean, I was able to get an appointment with Professor Utsuki, but the publishing company never got back to me about Itoi Kikuro. So in the end, I was stuck, unable to do anything that entire day, right? Amakusa, you went to go get that large black bag, didn't you? That's right. Just before we left for Najima, Amakusa and I parted ways just one time. He said something about getting a weapon from an acquaintance of his, and he went to go get that large black bag. Wasn't that today? What am I talking about? I mean, didn't I go to Najima, meet Captain Kawabata, and inside the bed shop? What? Something wrong? Did my confusion and uncertainty make me sigh out loud? Even though Hachijo's back was to me, she slowly turned around and smiled as though she had peered into my heart. No, it's nothing. Strange memories, ones that even I can't understand. I tried to hide my confusion, but for some reason, Hachijo had a strange glint in her eyes, as though she could read my mind. I've revived and killed your family several times within various forgeries. Almost like a witch might. I was gonna say, she's almost like Beatrice or something. Reviving and killing them whenever you like. Endlessly. Sounds almost like Beatrice, doesn't it? Yeah. Yes, it does. So please follow the lead of all those people on the web, and consider the possibility that I might be a witch. She took a thickly packed brown envelope out of a locked drawer. It appeared to be filled to the brim with printer paper. Perhaps this was a manuscript for one of her works. The neat letters written with a fountain pen on the envelope spelled out the word Dawn. Dawn of the Golden Witch, episode 6. Thought it would be. There's no forgery by the name of Dawn, which must mean Angie could tell this was a new one. Hachijo's newest unreleased forgery, Dawn of the Golden Witch. For one such as I, who knows everything, everything is boring. However, I don't dislike letting the ignorant read my works to see what kind of reactions they have. And so, I want you to read it. You want me to read your newest work, which you've created as the new Endless Witch? Correct, child of man. Whether you resent it or admire it, you can help me forget my illness for a time. Let's put an end to this farce, shall we? Who are you? I don't remember ever meeting you like this. Yes, I did try to contact Hachijo Toya, but in the end I never got a chance to meet her. In other words, all of this is a falsehood. Whose piece am I this time? Sorry, but if you think you can tame a Shurumaya Angie so easily, you're making a big mistake. Yes, I hoped you'd be this interested. She finally couldn't hold it back and burst out laughing. Gradually, the space around them seemed to be filled with a strange purple mist. The room itself seemed to twist and bend. Her figure also twisted, and after something that couldn't be described elapsed, her form changed to become just what she had called herself, a witch. Oh, she looks like, what's her name from Higurashi? Oh, I can't think of her name right now. Splendid. You did well to see through my veil. It seems I'm the type witches just love to cling to. You all have that same condescending tone towards humans. I figured you were a witch right away. The novelist sitting on the sofa was nowhere to be seen. Even Angie's bodyguard, who's supposed to be around at times like this, was gone. There's only a non-human figure relaxing in a large ornate rocking chair. I find you truly intriguing, child of man. Your charming nature is the perfect medicine for my boredom. Yeah, well, I don't see anything charming about this. Why am I alive? Wasn't I killed in a pretty nasty way for breaking the rule about revealing my name? To be honest, I did doubt that these people would just let me go so easily. What kind of farce will I be forced to go along with this time? I really don't care. I'll just do whatever I can within the bounds of the role they give me, whatever I can to help Oni-chan. Of course, I understand. Even if he wins, he'll never come back to me. Even so, I'll struggle on. I'll make sure Oni-chan comes back to the me of that day. Go on, battler, even if he's stuck in a room right now. No need to lose your temper. I'm not asking you to be at peace. Then why did you summon me here? Don't tell me you want me to read this new story or whatever it is you've written. That's it exactly. I do not want you to be my piece. I've always been a mere observer, and I have no intention of sticking my neck into their game. I don't get it. What does he want from me? Be an observer for me. An observer of the fragments Beatrice has woven. An observer? I don't really get it, but no deal. In the past, I observed the fragments through Battler's eyes. However, now that he has succeeded the position of Game Master, he is not a suitable observer. I am following this tale with true and earnest intentions. It would be such a waste to observe it through the eyes of Battler, as he is now, like reading a detective novel backwards. Oni-chan's the Game Master? What on earth are you talking about? You must have no clue what it's all about. You want to know, don't you? I want to know too. What kind of tale will Battler weave now that he has taken the position of Game Master? Furthermore, I wish to search for the truth Battler reached as part of my own mental journey. My illness affects me gravely. If I do not think, I cannot even keep my heart beating. So, you want me to read your new picture book aloud to you? You might as well interpret it that way. In exchange, you'll also be able to take part in your own journey of the mind. I do believe that even you have yet to reach the truth. I think you want to continue on the journey to find that truth. I don't owe you anything. Do not push your luck. I can be lenient at times, but such cases are rare. Angie hadn't yet reached the truth either. Though she knew that the game was little more than a toy for the amusement of those witches, she wanted it to resume, so that she could follow the tale and close in on the king called Truth. I might explore the tale to find the truth for myself, but I have no obligation to read it aloud until the end for your sake. Understand? Angie was willing to read the story aloud, but she could quit at any time if this witch made her mad. She was in effect warning the witch not to annoy her. Of course, you call it a picture book, but to me, it's the only medicine for a fatal illness. I cannot take that medicine without you to assist me. In other words, it's a mutually beneficial arrangement. So you tell me to read you a book until you fall asleep, and in exchange you'll let me read it too. Is that right? Precisely. If you are willing to accept, I shall ask that you become my reader for a time. It's nice to get my own title, but all you really want me to do is read books, right? As a reader, yes. Becoming my reader means the same as becoming my familiar. In other words, what's done against you will be done against me. I will not permit anyone to disrupt my only interest, that being to read the rest of Beatrice's tale. That's all I want! I will not let Burncastle, Lambda Delta, or even Beatrice force anything upon you. This witch, who seemed to have an almost divine quality to her, spoke both quietly and forcefully. There was no threat in her words. However, even so, it was clear that she was on a different level than Burncastle and the other witches, and not at all to be taken lightly. So you'll offer me protection if I agree to read your book? Of course. What I want is for you to read aloud to me. I will not spare any who attempt to stand in the way of that. If my attitude seems arrogant to you, allow me to apologise, child of man. It may not seem so, but I am speaking to you with the utmost respect. Probably. Even that witch-like style of speech feels like it's got to be the most respectful thing you've said in the last few hundred years. When you're reading a book, do you tell it, "Thank you very much," before flipping through the pages? I guess it's like that. I understand. Just by agreeing to have a conversation with Angie, she was shown an incredible amount of respect and willingness to compromise. Angie shrugged, but she also nodded to show her consent. Sure, I'll be a reader. I get that you showed a ton of respect just by asking for my consent first. You understand well, child of man. My name's Angie, not child of man or whatever. Very well. As proof of my respect for you, I will acknowledge your name. For her, acknowledging human names was like acknowledging the names of all the leaves scattered across the ground. So, her acknowledging Angie's name was a miracle. No, it was immensely good fortune. From this point forth, assure my Angie will serve as reader and Miko to the witch of theatre going, Featherine Augustus Aurora. Until you finish reading, I shall bring calamity to all who attempt to hinder your task. When the witch of theatre going, Featherine, spoke this, Featherine, that's her name, okay, gotta try and remember that. It's odd. And she was wrapped in a bright light. Angie didn't feel any particular change herself, but she definitely had been given something that only non-humans could sense. It signified that from this point forward, Angie would be the witch of theatre going's subject. That didn't mean that Angie would gain some sort of special power, but at the very least, it probably meant that anyone wanted to cause her harm would first have to take on Featherine herself. Your name is pretty long. Sounds like some Roman person from the history books. What should I call you? Those not familiar with me call me Augustus Aurora. After all the respect you've shown me, it's only fitting that I respond in kind. I'll call you Featherine. Any problems? None at all. For an ailing witch such as myself, even being called by my first name would be an experience to be treasured and pondered over, child of man. I get the impression her illness is going to become quite important to the story as well. I have a name. It's Angie. Even conversations like this are pleasant every once in a while. Angie, my Miko. Angie accepted her role. She had observed the story with the witch of theatre going. The curtain was rising on the 6th tale. Yeah! Wow, that's a really good way to start an arc. It's actually a story by an author, by the Great Witch now, who's reading the stories of Beatrice. It's all a bit convoluted, really. But I like it. I like how the direction they're going in for this. Okay, so that's the end of our first episode back after a while. This has been Greenie XI. I hope you've enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again in a bit when we check in on... I don't know. I guess it's the witches. I guess it's going to be Burncastle and Beto and all that, maybe. Looking at this. But anyway. Thanks again for watching, folks. See you again in a bit.